Hey friends, it's Missy, and I'm back with a new layout for Precious Remembrance Shop, and I'm going to be featuring 3 different stamp sets on my layout for today. This is the Journey stamp set, and I'm going to use a few things from this. It's one of my favorites. This is the School Days stamp set, and I'm going to use a couple of things from this one, and also the Sketchy Alphabet stamp set. And since it's August, I thought that I would use this really cute School Days stamp set to create a back to school layout, and I really want to use that school bus. I think it's super cute, and I'm going to pull a couple of different elements from that one, and I'm just showing you the stamp sets that I've got here in real life, in addition to the close-ups still shots that I showed just a second ago. I almost used this one. This is the DIY stamp set, but I wind up not using that one. Kind of take a turn, you know how most of layouts do. Now, these are the funniest pictures ever. This was from a few years ago, our first day of school. Look at these faces. Crybabies. Yeah, they weren't crying because of school. They were crying because I made them stop to take a picture. And they just wanted to go straight to the car and go straight to school. But I, being the, mamarazzi that I am, I had to say, no, wait, take pictures like we always do. And yeah, they were not having it. I think these are the funniest school pictures ever. And I'm finally getting around to scrapping them. So okay, so I'm not quite sure how I want the design to go, but I do know I want to use that school bus. So I'm going to use just a scrap piece of textured cardstock, and I'm going to stamp it right on there using some black archival ink because I want to color it in with some watercolors. And I just stamped it a few times to get the exact image that I wanted. And these are some, I believe, oh my goodness, which watercolors are these? I think these are the Jane Davenport watercolor set. Yeah, these are the Jane Davenport ones from Michaels, and I hadn't used them yet. Super pretty. I love the bright colors, and I'm just kind of quickly coloring in this school bus to make it look like an actual, I wanted it to be yellow and kind of that yellow golden color that school buses are. And so I'm mixing some colors to get it, and I'm just, I didn't spend a lot of time on it. I didn't want it to be perfect. I wanted it to look kind of rough around the edges. So I've got it done. And I decided that I just wanted my title to be funny. It's going to be No! Because that's basically what everyone was saying when I was trying to take their picture. And it pretty much happens like that every year. Now, I wound up changing this background. I kind of just went for it. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I'm going to speed through this part. I just wanted some layers, and so I pulled out some random papers, and I thought, I'll incorporate some blues, some pinks, some yellows. And I changed this. This is not what it's going to look like. This is what happens when I don't plan ahead and I just kind of go for it. It usually winds up being something that I don't love. And once I don't love it, I either have to push through it or start over. So in this case, I decided to start over. And I know I say most of the time, just keep going. But in this case, I stamped right onto the paper and it wasn't jiving for me. So I took a break, got out a new sheet, and now I'm going to start with some blue acrylic paint and just smudge it down. And this is going to look like a hot mess, as always. So let me finish the background before you start going, ew, what is she doing? This is an old palette knife and just plain blue acrylic paint that I got from Michaels. I'm just smudging it down. It's very, just one color here. So I want to get some different shades going on. So I'm going to use some white and go over it to light it up a little bit and just to start to get some different shades of the blue. I always like to make different shades. And for whatever reason, I was in the mood to create a textury random background. And so I pulled out the modeling paste. I haven't used that in a while. And this is a very well-used circle stencil. And I'm just going to create some texture on the background. And this really has nothing to do with back to school, but I just wanted the background to be a little different. And so that's all I'm doing here. And these circles are going to be subtle. They're not going to stand out or, take away from anything. So now that that's dry, I'm going to start to add in some different colors of blue. These are some shimmer sprays. I've got Snow Way Man and Jenny B Blue. I'm going to use the brush. I'm going to spray directly on. This is a Heidi Ho blue. It's more of a darker royal blue. And I'm just getting some blue on the background here. And you can kind of see how that modeling paste looks when you start to add different colors around it. And all this is just going to sort of peek around and from underneath the pictures and everything. And since I've got 4 pictures, they're going to take up a lot of space. I think that's what was giving me some trouble here in the beginning with coming up with a design, was I had so many pictures, but I wanted to use all 4 of them, and I wanted them to kind of, you know, tell a story. And so I wanted to have them, you know, in a horizontal line going across the page. I played around with it a lot off camera and thought about doing 2 up top and 2 down below and doing the title in the middle, but I didn't want to space them out. I wanted to leave them like this. It's just so funny, these pictures. Love them. So yeah, I just created the word no in my Silhouette software. I believe the font is called Watermelon, and I just made it really big and welded it together so it would stretch across the page there. And then I'm going to do some more title work with that sketchy alphabet stamps later. And that's a big piece of tissue paper behind the pictures. I just wanted them to stand out from the background and have a little bit of separation there. And so tissue paper is good for that, because it's kind of like vellum in that it's subtle, but it also lightens things up. And you know, you can still see it, but it's not so busy that it takes away from anything. It just sort of softens the edges up. So I kind of like how this is going, and then I just play around with some of the papers that I had torn from earlier when I started to make the other background. And I actually pulled out a hip kit. I think it was from last summer. It had lots of bright summery colors, and I wanted to pull from the yellow shirt. My oldest daughter's wearing a yellow shirt, and so I thought, you know, the school bus is yellow, so let's add some yellow in the mix. And then I went to my random bits of stuff basket on my desk, and I have a pack of these Me and My Big Ideas Project Life cards that I got at Hobby Lobby like 2 years ago, and I mainly just got them because of the colors. And I like to do this with them right here. I like to use them as layers, and they're perfect for that. And I just picked out 4 and stuck them back there, and at first I wasn't sure if I liked it. I kind of left it there to see if it would grow on me. And this winds up just being random bits of things put together. And in the beginning, I really didn't have a color scheme. I just always, if I have color photos, I try to pull from the pictures. And so that's where the yellow idea came from. Now I'm going to go back to that School Days stamp set, and I picked out the circle that says "Great Job," and I just stamped it onto some packaging that some stickers came in. So it's nice and smooth and slick, and it's stamped perfectly. Now, it's going to get a different look if you stamp on textured cardstock like I stamped the school bus. And it just depends if you want it to look kind of messy or if you want it to look perfect. And I don't do cards that often, and I think, you know, for a card you may want it to be more of a perfect sentiment, but for layouts I like it to be kind of messy. So I cut that circle out, and now I'm going to add some foam behind the pictures, and that's going to give them some dimension. And I'm going to lightly start to glue things down. I am going to leave those Project Life cards back there because I like the pops of color, and it just kind of separates the pictures from everything. So now I'm going to take some pink shimmers to color up this circle here. And I'm just brushing it right on. And since I use the archival ink, it's waterproof. It's not going to smudge and smear when I add anything wet to it. But I wanted this circle to be pink, and I'm going to get it just to the right color to match the darker pink tones. And so I'm just going to smudge over it with a gelato. And now I'm going to stick that right there in between the first and second picture because I got a lot of open space right there. Now I'm going to add in some texture. You know, I love me some tangled thread, so I'm going to go with the darker blue color here, and it's just going to give it some texture and a little bit darker of a color there. Most of it's going to be covered up, but you can still see it kind of peeking through the no die cut there. And I just cut that on white cardstock, and I'm going to leave it white. Add a little bit more of that thread up top. And I like how this is looking. I like that it's kind of messy and random, but yet the photos still stand out, and you're going to definitely get the whole theme of what I'm trying to do here with back to school. Even though I'm not using any papers that are back to school or anything like that, I'm just basically creating embellishments using stamps. And that is one of my favorite things that you can do with stamps, is create your own embellishments. Now this is from the I just told you the name of it, Journey stamp set. And it's got that really cute camera. I didn't use it on this one, but I am going to use this little piece. It says, "A picture makes every moment last forever." And I just thought that was cute. And what I'm going to do is cut it into strips. And so it's going to look like journaling strips. So always think outside the box when you're using stamps. You don't have to use the stamps as is. You know, you don't have to stamp them directly onto your background. Put them on some scrap paper and cut them out and then move them around, you know. I don't think I did hardly any stamping on the background at all. I think most of my stamping I stamped on other paper and then cut it out. And that way you can move it around. Now this I did stamp directly on there. And this says smile, smile, smile. And it's just, I'm just being a smart aleck because they're not smiling. So I was kind of being sarcastic. But yeah, they were smiling as soon as we got in the car. And they did the same thing this year. They were just boo-hooing because Mommy made them stop to take a picture. They should know. They should know by now that I'm going to pull out that camera pretty much all the time. But they were not in the mood. Now here's where I do stamp directly onto the paper. And I did I drew some lines first because I am terrible at getting things perfectly straight when I want them to. So these are the Sketchy Alpha stamps, and they are super cute. And so I just typed in, or stamped down, "First Day Drama." And now it's pretty straight. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I wanted it to be, you know, kind of straight there. And I'm going to come underneath that and draw in a few more lines and add some journaling down there. And the bus is going to go right to the right, because I think that's a good spot for it. And I wanted to pull in some more of the yellow and pink, and so I just added a couple strips of washi tape. I'm going to play around with it for a second to tear it and get it exactly like I want it. I didn't want it to be too much. And I like the white and yellow striped washi tape from my stash. I think I got that at Michael's. Just kind of reminds me of the crosswalk, or I don't know, just something about it reminds me of back to school. I'm going to add in some journaling there, and then I'm going to start to get all of these other little pieces kind of fit in there like puzzle pieces. And I love that that was a stamp. You know, you would never think that that's a stamp. Just looks like I typed journaling out on my computer and printed it out. And if you were going to use it on a card, you could leave it the way it was. You don't have to cut it out. So many different possibilities, and you know, it's just fun to think outside the box and use things in a different way. And I thought I needed a little bit more of a pop of pink down there, so I am going to add a little bit of pink thread underneath that school bus. And I did add a piece of foam under the school bus too, so it kind of pops off the page a little bit. And I fiddle with that for a while. I didn't want it to be too much. I just wanted it to be a little bit of pink in that area. There we go. And I know I've said this a lot, it's fun to just create a layout from scratch like this, where you just build it on white cardstock and make your own background and just pull random bits from here and there. But it's also challenging because you don't really know where to go. That's why I tend to go for my little bin on my desk that's just got random things in it, and I just try to make it work. These are some flare buttons from a Flare for Buttons. I've got the little camera up at the top and then the star down at the bottom. Stars remind me of school. So I thought that one looked cute, and it brings some of the black down there at the bottom. And the last thing I'm going to do is add in some black splatters, and I did a little machine stitching under the journaling and on top of the washi tape. But that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. I think it's fun, and it's funny. It makes me laugh. The memory is just funny. Those pictures will always be some of my favorites. And yeah, this is just some more fun ideas of what you could do with stamps. So I hope you guys check out Precious Remembrance Shop. There are a ton of stamps in there, and they are all super high quality. They are wonderful and lots of possibilities. So let me know if you have any questions about any of the stamps or anything in the shop, any of the techniques that I used, anything at all, and I'll be more than happy to answer. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next video. I hope you have a great day.